Now let's take a look at the week that was, and for this we have our guest contributors who will share their analysis of the biggest stories and issues of the week. A week infused with the highs, lows and chaos of Nigerian politics, from the EFCC case of the beleaguered former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, amid sordidly theatrical allegations of truckloads of cash gone missing, to the resignation from the PDP of the former governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, who says the PDP can no longer carry out internal reforms or even enforce its own rules, let alone be a credible opposition to the ruling APC. And then, among other things, there's the small matter of judicial reform and yet another jailbreak here in Nigeria. Well, for their analysis of the week that was, I'm joined now in the studio by a former commissioner in Delta State, Kenny Okolugbo, who's been a member of the PDP's Publicity Committee and Campaign Council, and by the policy strategist and group CEO of the Global Investment and Trade Company, Baba Yusuf. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having us.
Let me start with you, Kenny.
I'm surprised you still introduces me as a former member.
No, actually, I was going to say
a former.
Blue blistering barnacles. Kenny Okolugbo is here, and thundering tarnation, Baba Yusuf.
I like that.
But let's get to the meat and potatoes of the chat. I'll start with you because he comes here more regularly, so he's almost like part of the furniture.
That's good.
The elephant in the room this week, or perhaps I should say the mammoth in the room this week, is Yahaya Bello and his EFCC saga. Have you, like many people, been digging for clues as to why Mr. Bello has been getting the support of, among other people, some top-level lawyers?
I was actually on a sister station for the first time on Bello's issue today, and I have not, being someone who's been a pundit for a long time and being someone who has been in the media space, I can't tell when last I saw someone have this kind of support. Among so many pundits you would ordinarily think would dig deeper and see the pros and the cons. I mean, we all have our sentiments. We all have people that, no matter how much you try to balance issues, that you support. But the thing about it is, Bello must know that this media game he's playing is going to have a time to come to an end. What I expected him to do is, first, as a director of youths, you know, Bello came in as a governor that was very lucky. Nobody thought he was going to become the governor of Kogi State. He's still less than 50. He has done his 8 years in office. And naturally, he's a role model to a lot of people. And
he ought to be.
And that is exactly what I think he should see himself as. But when you have people that are not giving you the best of advice, you make the kind of mistake Bello is making. I've read that, I've been privileged to read those judgments. First, the judgments he had in Kogi's court didn't give him a blanket ban on not being arrested. In fact, the judge, Jamil Abdullahi, was very smart. He said, look, while I'm trying to enforce your fundamental human rights, I can't stop the EFCC from arresting you. But if the EFCC has a reason to arrest you, they should approach the court and get the authority of the court to be able to arrest you. And again, they should also have credible evidence. And
so the EFCC did that.
And that's exactly what the EFCC did with Justice Wheatley's court. And you know, most of the people that are coming on air to talk about these things are talking blindly. They are not looking at the facts. They are talking with mixed emotions. And you know, the courts don't deal with emotions. They deal with the facts that are before them. That's one beautiful thing about the court. So what I think Yahaya Bello should do, especially since he's known as a white lion. White lions, you know, are very rare. Even though they are quite rare. He should show up the next time in court, since his lawyers have been served the papers, and prove his case. And not using his media team to reply the EFCC chairman and say, no, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. You have your day in court. The offense he has committed is bailable.
Right.
He's not going to be held in perpetuity.
Right.
That's
an interesting angle to the story. Baba Yusuf, you've been following this very closely. Someone said that it's amazing, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but someone said that it's amazing how much cordiality can be created and how much suspicion can be overlooked by truckloads of cash money. I don't know whether that prevails in this situation, but someone said that. What is your reaction to all of this?
Well, for me, Charles, is one of those episodes in the political drama as we evolve as a nation, as the democracy is maturing. In this studio, Charles, I said it, and I spoke directly to former Governor Yahaya Bello, that you are invited and you are claiming you are innocent. Present yourself to investigation and clear your name. And I like what my fellow panelists said, dimensioning the situation that Yahaya Bello is, a young, a gentleman who has a lot of years of potentially political career, if you like, to get to the highest level of politics in Nigeria. It appears to me, first of all, from a strategic perspective, if you look at the back office, that would tell you how the front office manifests. Yahaya Bello is born in his bridges, and it's just a matter of time that the white line will be smoked out. At that point in time, all these pundits that are cheerleaders to this sordid, dance of macabre dance will not be able to help him because the evidences will have to speak. And we already know from the matter that is already before a court of competent jurisdiction, there are his co-travelers that have made confessional statements. Two critical elements that nail a case: confessional statement and the evidence. I'm not presupposing what is happening, but we can see from what is happening and how Yahaya Bello is playing this particular game. I don't think it's a game he needs to play. It's a long game, but then the long arms of the law also is very long.
So the arms of the law are longer.
Are longer, basically.
Yeah, and
then to the lawyers, because we are going to talk about the judiciary and all that, we are talking about judicial reform. I see this opportunity as a friend of the law, legal practices in its entirety, that the reform in the judiciary should reflect in also reforming the legal practice, to be honest.
That's a good point. And let's get to that issue of judicial reform, Kenny. Another big story this week that's just over a day old, in fact, was the National Summit of Justice, which has been holding here in Abuja with President Tinubu calling on the judiciary to make the justice system more functional. In other words, root and branch reforms are needed. But of course, reforming the machinery of Nigeria's system is the challenge. Nigeria's judicial system is a challenge of a lifetime, isn't it?
It's more than even a lifetime. Did you actually listen to the Senate President's speech?
Yes, a lot of people actually commended
I think Akpabio's speech should be published in all the newspapers and should go viral if it hasn't gone viral. Akpabio encapsulated the present state of what our judiciary is like. The ex parte orders that are given, the fact that even the Attorney General, you have to take his permission before you enforce a judgment that has been given in your favor. I mean, where is that done? Akpabio just captured everything. But one of the things that people don't seem to understand is the delay in the justice system. Let me use myself as a case study. When I was a serving commissioner, my blood auntie, same mother, same father with my mom, I hate to say that we're in court, Dr. and Mrs. Beatrice Omeni,
on opposing side.
On opposing side.
Right.
There's nothing in our family system like the family decision. Our family called us together because we had this dispute over a property we both developed. And at the end of the day, she went to court. And the funny thing about it was that the property in dispute, while we're in court, she sold it. And she was supposed to be in contempt of court. Do you know, as of 2015, Justice Fumioke, who gave me judgment in my favor, that she had jurisdiction, ended up becoming the chief judge, has retired. That case is on interlocutory appeal. This is 2024, Charles.
That's extraordinary.
So if it pushes you to take the law into your hands.
Justice denied.
I would suppose the family decision was to sell that property, share the money between yourself. But this is the same mother, same father with my mother. Do you expect me to take the laws into my hands? So that is exactly what the judicial reform has to do. I don't know how come an interlocutory appeal will stay for 9 years and the case has not been decided. I'm not telling you about an appeal. So when that means my children might likely be the ones, or our grandchildren may be the ones to settle that issue between us. And it's very sad because that's the judicial system we have found ourselves. If only they can apply the same way they apply the rules of the Electoral Act, that gives you a timeline. There must be a timeline for. I'm thinking I should sit with other lawyers and sponsor a private bill to actually give a timeline where you can hear an interlocutory appeal, where you can hear a substantive appeal. Point. Am I making some sense here?
Because you're essentially, I mean, the system of justice is supposed to deliver justice, and you're being denied.
I'm being denied. And you can imagine, dollar was 100 naira. As at the time where she sold that property, she claimed she sold it for 150 million, and not a dime has been given to me. And she's hung it with interlocutory appeal.
Yeah, it's
9 years.
It's a mess, isn't it? Let me come to you, Baba Yusuf, because the logical thing to what he's saying is the need for judicial reform.
Yep.
But here we have a justice system that struggles to restrain the lawlessness of politicians who are supposed to be upholders of the law. But it is to those same politicians that we must look to sustain the reforms of the machinery of justice. President Tinubu has promised to lead that charge. Can he really get to the heart of it?
Thank you very much, Charles. I know you are aware this is a very important topic for me, essentially because Nigeria, like I said, we cannot...
I mean, you've written extensively about
Absolutely.
this, yeah.
We cannot fix our polity until we fix our judiciary. The dream or the illusion that when we have a proper executive and legislature, then we think all things will be done better. I dare say that that is an illusion because the critical pillar for the sustenance or indeed delivery of performance of the other two arms of government is precedent on a reformed judiciary. And I will dimension that real quick. Let's step back 77 years, Charles.
Wow.
1947, late Chief Obafemi Awolowo wrote, and I quote, in 1947, corruption is the greatest defect of the native court system. He complained that not only did judges take bribes, people use their connections to enrich themselves and avoid punishment for the crime.
Well, he ain't seen nothing.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Now fast forward to today, Charles. Yeah. To dimension
and magnify it a million times.
And imagine we've gotten to a stage, just like my co-panelist said, that we have gone to a point in this country that the status of reverence that we have for the judiciary has eroded so much to the level that if a perpetrator of crime or a defendant in a matter of a case, in fact, people tell you to your face to go to court. The cliche is not from the point of view with respect that you're going to get justice, but from the point of view of mockery of a judiciary that will not deliver that justice. And you can imagine what goes on in the mind of somebody that's a victim of injustice with regards to somebody, a perpetrator, telling you, go to court.
Right.
Now, this is where we have found ourselves. Indeed, the justice system is a subject of a civil service structure which has eroded over time. And in fairness to the judiciary, is a reflection of the erosion of our value system. But indeed, whoever wanted to become a judge decided to live above board, decided to live a life that is different. And if that is the case, we got to a stage where, like he said, like I wrote in the column of today, that as far as I'm concerned, in my strong opinion, a judge that grants an injunction to stop an investigation. Things are so bad that judges grant injunction to stop what? Investigation.
Yeah, it's
people
a
lean
situation.
on section 46 of the 1999 Constitution to say they don't want to be investigated. And we have honorable judges at various strata granting that injunction to stifle investigation on matters of criminality, on matters of national.
I mean, look at it, Charles. Alvin Bragg. Everybody feels, even the Democrats like Jonathan Tolley, will tell you that the case against Trump is one of the weakest cases among the 4 indictments he has had. But Alvin Bragg still had his day in court. he hasn't been able to establish a crime even for the 2 weeks trial of the Hush.
Well, we must move on from this judicial, because
yes.
I need to, we mentioned a couple of other things, I need to be able to get to it. So, gentlemen, please try and keep your answers reasonably brief. We've just got about 3 minutes before we have to end the show. You're still in the PDP.
No, I've left the PDP.
Okay, well, you know a lot about the PDP.
100%.
Let's look at briefly the politics there. Emeka Ihedioha, former governor, former bigwig of the PDP, resigning from the party this week. Does the reason he gave for leaving the party have any merit? He says the PDP is no longer able to carry out internal reforms, enforce its own rules, or be a credible opposition to the ruling agency.
Well, it's obvious that why did I leave the PDP? One of the reasons was because of lack of internal democracy that was perpetrated by the former leader of my party, who is a former governor, Kowa. And secondly, the fact that they left the South and decided to pitch their tents with the North. And so every reason he has given there does make sense. And again, if you look at it objectively, Emeka Ihedioha should have been given back the ticket. He was 7 months in office when he was terminated. And by the time they did the primaries, you shut him out of it. You probably just told Emeka Ihedioha that we don't want you here anymore. And don't forget, he was a former deputy speaker of the House of Reps, which encompasses 36 states and Abuja. So the reasons they gave are not far-fetched. I think what my former party will do, because I mean, nobody would have ever thought I'll leave it, is to do a soul-searching and reform themselves internally before they can become a credible opposition.
Okay, let me give the last word to you. We've got less than 90 seconds. How big an issue is his resignation likely to be for the PDP? Because it suggests that the PDP has become so massively unpopular that even senior members have lost confidence in the party.
Yeah, obviously the inability for the party to regroup after the losing the presidential election in 2023 is manifesting in these cracks. And of course, you have a big spoiler in the name of Nyesom Wike, who has strategically positioned himself and become, you know, a thorn in the flesh of this party. Indeed, he has become a case study, you know, in party politics. That being said, I am okay with the outcome of the position they took a week or so ago, to give a breather for 30 days for them to come up with a position to change the chairmanship of the party.
It's more than 30 days. It's August.
August, okay, 33 months. And that will be a critical step. That will be a key determinant of how PDP will evolve. That will be their opportunity.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. And sadly, we're out of time. We couldn't get to the issue of the dozens of prisoners who escaped from Suleja prison in Abuja. But I want to thank you guys very much.
It's always my pleasure.
Absolutely brilliant. Kenny Okolugbo, who is a former commissioner in Delta State, former member of the PDP's Publicity Committee and Campaign Council, and the policy strategist and group CEO of the global investment and trade company Baba Yusuf. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.